trying something brand new. We have never done a Google's Hangout interview before, and today I thought I'd go ahead and give it a try. And I have somebody joining me today. Actually, it's my very own daughter, who I am so proud of. And so Tiffany Lang is with me today, and she's going to be talking to us a little bit about her business. She is a professional birth doula, and she's going to talk a little bit today about how she got started and why she became a doula and what being a doula is all about. And then we're going to just chat a little bit about how we can market different businesses and such on YouTube. And so without any further ado, welcome, Tiffany. Thanks for being here.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So tell us all just a little bit about why you decided to become a doula, what a doula is. Just give us the whole scoop.
Okay, so after I had my first daughter, I decided to become a doula. I had sort of a traumatic experience when I gave birth to her. It was an emergency C-section, and I just felt really unsupported through that. And because of that, I wanted to be able to support other women, and that's really all that a doula does. They just support women when they're in labor through really any type of birth. So having a doula doesn't exempt you from some experiences, but that was just something that I felt I really needed in my birthing experiences that I want to give to other women. Really, when talking about a doula, it's so important to understand what a doula isn't as well as what they are. We're not doctors. We can't make the decisions for women. We're just an advocate. And really, that's what it comes down to, is supporting and advocating for pregnant and laboring women.
So I hear a lot of people say, what is a doula? And I think I didn't know what it was either until you educated me on that. And when I was having children, we called them labor coaches. But I think it has been described to me that a birth doula is a little bit more than just a coach. You know, anybody can stand over your bedside while you're having a baby and encourage you and be there and all of that. But a doula, actually, from the way it's been described to me, is somebody who is, like you said, more of an advocate. They are there to make sure that your birth plan, the decisions that you want, actually get put into place. Is that correct?
Yes. The whole goal is to honor the mother. And you said it exactly right. You know, we think of a birth coach or a labor coach, and that's not inaccurate. It's just sort of incomplete. And so, in addition to being a labor coach, in addition to cheering women on when they're pushing and in those final stages, I'm also there for all those early kind of boring moments and the tiring moments and the moments when doctors are really wanting to change the plan last minute, and standing up for women when maybe their wishes aren't being honored, or when they need to really feel empowered and draw in their, or pull from themselves some inner strength, and I can sort of help them find that.
So, Tiffany, I think what happens, I know it happened to me when I was having you and your sisters, is that women, they get tired when they're in labor, and you know, they're in pain. A lot of women experience giving birth with a tremendous amount of pain, and so sometimes they don't know what decision to make in the moment. And when they have a doctor who is saying to them, hey, if you want, we can just hurry this thing along and do a C-section, that may or may not be necessary. A lot of women go ahead and say, sure, you're the doctor, and they want to get it over with. What do you think having a birth doula, what difference, I guess, do you think that would make in a situation like that?
So first off, having a doula is going to help you develop a birth plan, sort of know ahead of time, while you're not in pain and not tired and not trying to birth a baby, to know what decisions you really want to hold to, and what things you don't care so much about, what you're flexible on. And so just beforehand can help you develop this plan. And oftentimes in writing, so that way when the doctor comes in and says, hey, let's go ahead and start Pitocin, it's time, they can say, nope, right here, we don't want to start Pitocin unless it's absolutely absolutely necessary, or no, not at all, or whatever the case is, you've got it in writing. So that's one of the first steps. In addition to that is pain management, because labor hurts. It really does. Birth hurts. But how you interpret that pain may define how your labor goes. If you accept that pain and go through these processes of controlling your, not controlling, that's not quite right, because you want to just allow labor to carry on with itself, but to just go into yourself and accept what's happening, that can help too, and a doula can kind of guide that.
So, you know, at the risk of sounding like you're against Pitocin or against C-sections, I don't think that's it at all, because sometimes we know that it is absolutely medically necessary. But for the times when the women are just being pushed along, just sort of pushed through the medical system, if you will, because maybe the doctor's tired, and you know, both of us have seen that happen, where the doctor just has something else that he wants to go do. And I'm not accusing doctors of anything, thank God for doctors.
Yeah.
But it's for times like that that having a doula will help you, I think, keep maybe, for lack of another term, a level head. And then the doula is also there in case something does happen where, you know, hey, there is a medical emergency. We really do need to do a C-section. We really do need to do some intervention here in this birth process. And we're fortunate that, you know, we have doctors that are able to do that. But the doula can also be there to help the mother, you know, stay calm and understand what's happening and communicate with the doctors on her behalf. Am I correct with that?
That is exactly right. I'm oftentimes accused of being anti-doctors or anti-C-sections, and that's not it at all. I chose to have all 3 of my kids in a hospital for a reason. It's where I felt safest. It's where I knew that if there was an emergency, I was in the appropriate setting. You can't do a C-section in your living room. And if I needed one, I wanted to be where I could do one. But like you said, you know, sometimes we see situations where doctors just, they put women on a schedule, and, you know, that's not how God designed us. He didn't say, you know, labor lasts 12 hours, and if a baby's not born, then it's time to do major abdominal surgery. I have a hard time believing that God designed women to have 1 in 3 need a C-section, or 1 out of every 3 women having a C-section. It's just not how we were designed. But having said that, I'm so grateful for the doctors, because real things do come up, and women need support through those traumatic experiences. We need women supporting women after they've had those experiences, and really even through them. Being present for an emergency C-section would, or having a doula present through an emergency C-section would really help a woman cope through those scary times.
Tell me a little bit about what somebody can expect from your services. So if I'm pregnant and I'm looking for somebody to support me, and I call you and say, Tiffany, you know, I need a doula. Tell me about your services. What can I expect from you?
Okay. So first and foremost, we would meet and really decide if our personalities clash, or pair well, not clash, because sometimes.
Yeah, I hope they don't clash.
I'd hope not, but you know, sometimes that is the case. Sometimes you get really excited and think this is the right person for me, and then you meet and it may not work, but there's the right doula for every mom, and there's the right mom for every doula. So we'd go through that meeting process first. And then after that, if you've decided to hire me as your doula, from there, we would work to develop your birth plan if you'd like that. I would meet you 1 or 2 times before your labor, and then I'd be 100% present through your labor up to about 2 hours postpartum. That seems to be when things calm down and mom just wants to rest and spend some time with baby and dad. And so that's when I take my leave. And then about a week after you've given birth, I would come visit and make sure that everything is going well, see if you have any questions, and offer you resources. If you're struggling with anything, I can provide you with a lot of information at that point.
And I know that you are not a photographer, but recently one of your moms actually asked you to photograph during the birth, even though you're not a professional photographer. And you agreed to do that with the understanding that, hey, I'm not a professional. So that's something else that you're able to do for your moms?
Yes. I was actually surprised by how everything turned out. I have never claimed to be a photographer. I barely know how to, shoot the camera. That's for my sister. She's the photographer of the family. And anyway, she's amazing. But once we got everything put together, I made a little video for them. And really, it was so powerful. She had a VBAC, which is a vaginal birth after cesarean. She had had 2 previous cesareans and was told that she would never experience a birth like that. And so having that, I don't know, hard proof that she was not broken, her body was so capable, and all those amazing pictures of her baby being born, really it moved me, and I think that she was very excited to have that.
Yeah, one thing I'd like to ask you about is that VBAC. Some people don't even know what that is. And a lot of times women are told, hey, once you've had a cesarean section, you'll never be able to have a vaginal birth. And like in your case where you did have a C-section, you went on to have 2 vaginal births. That means that it is possible for other women to experience that. Do you think that in the case of the mom that you just recently went and helped, do you think that she was more encouraged to do the vaginal birth simply because she knew she had support from somebody there that had already gone through it?
Well, I think that there were a couple of things. First off, the very first thing I tell women who are seeking a VBAC is to build support. Um, Make sure that your husband's on board. And now, whether he is or not, can really define your feelings once you go into labor. So make sure that your husband is on board. And if he's not, have very, very, very strong support outside of the family unit. There's tons of groups on Facebook. That's how I connected with a lot of women. And hire a doula. And I'm not saying it has to be me. Of course, I would love to be there for everybody's VBAC because I'm very passionate about it. But have that support. And so for her, her husband was 200% behind her. He was amazing. She had some local support and she had a doula. So really, all of her emotional needs, I think, were being met. And when you're being fulfilled emotionally, it's so much easier to be empowered and to trust that your body can do it.
Sure, absolutely. And I think it's a wonderful thing. I think that doula services are maybe overlooked a little bit sometimes, and especially in a culture where we're just not used to it. We're just used to letting the doctors sort of handle everything, and we just go along with whatever they tell us. One thing that I know you are working towards, is trying to market yourself as a doula in a very noisy marketplace. You know, marketing is so different. And I do a lot of helping people learn how to market things and give them different platforms to do that, such as this YouTube event that we're doing right now. And you're very, very fortunate because you get to work out of your home. You have 3 kids at home and you get to stay home with your kids. And part of your job isn't just being there when mom goes into labor, but part of your job is also to promote yourself so people can find out about you. And I want to talk a little bit about ways that you would encourage other doulas who are trying to grow their services and grow their agency. What are some things that lately you've done to sort of get your name out there and get the word out there?
Well, I feel a little bit like most of my job has been informing people about what a doula is. And so I started with YouTube. I built a website and have my Facebook page. And I tried launching all of these at the same time, so that way I could sort of, I don't know, attack the attack the social media, if you will. And I feel like it's been pretty slow. There's more often than not, I'm just asked over and over again, what's a doula? So I'm sending people to my YouTube video to explain a little bit better what a doula is. But outside of that, I feel like I'm new to marketing. That's not somewhere that I've previously spent a lot of time. So it's just been a lot of trial and error and finding what my client base might be looking for, where they're searching, and trying to be where they're looking. And it's an experiment.
Yeah, and I think that it is an experiment no matter what business you own, whether you're a life coach like me or you are a doula, or, you know, if you're selling soccer balls. I mean,
Yeah.
figuring out the best way in which to do that. I think it was really an intelligent move on your part to launch everything all at once. You know, that really helped you. You stuck that way with some very consistent branding. And also, I know for our viewers out there, if you click on the little I information button at the top of this this video, then you can get information about Nature Made Mama's YouTube channel. And you know, it's just a great resource that way. But you did such a good job of making sure that you kept a consistent brand all across the board. And you did it with such simplicity. The biggest thing, I think, is just continuing to get that information out there. So many people still need educated, and they need to understand that what you have to offer has real concrete value to them. You know, it's just something that will take time, I think, for people to catch on to. I wish that your services had been available when I was having children, and maybe they were, and I just didn't know about it. You know, like I said, my neighbor came and sat in the room with me so that, you know, somebody would be there other than just the nurse that's in and out of the room constantly.
You know,
So I
I
think what
think
you're doing is
that's,
great.
oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I think that's something that maybe just shifted in our culture. We didn't need doulas because we had a community. And now I think there's just less of a birth community. There's less people jumping up to join you for that moment.
Yeah, I think you're
And,
absolutely right.
and that's why we need a doula.
Well, it looks like we may have, Tiffany, are you still there? Looks like we may have lost.
No, her battery died.
Looks like we may have lost her. So you know what we'll do? We'll just go ahead and put Tiffany's information up here, and you can check her out at naturemademama.com. I'll make sure you have all of that information. And in the meantime, we'll see if maybe we can get her back and do another interview. It was great having her on today. You've been watching the Get Clear show, and thanks. Have a great day.